Real estate agents, we know the market is changing, and there are two things that are really critical to know and master and on service delivery that will help our sellers and help ourselves get their home sold. So these are the two things I want to talk about, which will improve our service level, which is number one, having that price reduction conversation. So I want to share with you a script and the process that I've used that's worked time and time again since I've been licensed in 2004. And the second thing is it's really important to have consistent communication with our seller. So I want to show you some examples of how we do our weekly seller updates. Okay? Let's get started. I'm Kim Barber with Kim Barber Group and eXp Realty, and I've helped thousands of owners and agents with real estate since 2004. So the first thing I want to talk about is that price reduction script. Okay, so in order for us to kind of lay the groundwork of that price reduction script, I recommend that you have this conversation during the listing appointment, which is this. Mr. or Mrs. Seller, the market is changing, as you know, and what I want to share with you is our plan for not chasing the market and making sure that we get your home sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. So this is the way it's going to happen. It's happened time and time again. The best coaches will say this in that. When we have been on the market for 3 weeks, we're going to want to see about 12 to 15 showings. And we have 12 to 15 showings, it means that we're within the ballpark of the right price. But if we don't have an offer or it's a low offer, typically this means we're 2 to 5% off on the price. And then I say, does this make sense? So we want to lay that groundwork. Now let's say that we're in that 2 to 3 weeks of being on the market and we have no or low offers. So we're going to revisit this conversation. It's going to be like, remember we talked about this, so it's not foreign, and we've laid the groundwork so that they in their minds know this is when we need to revisit it. Okay, so Mr. or Mrs. Seller, we've now been on the market for roughly 3 weeks. And if you remember when we talked about this in our listing presentation and when we first talked about, price strategies, that we said we want to have that 12 to 15 showings. So at this point, as you know, we have, and then you insert the number of showings, and we have no offers, or maybe that low offer came in. So what this indicates is that we're 2 to 5% off on the price. Now, if we don't have that many showings, then we could be off by more, 5% or more. So what I recommend that we do now is go ahead and make the price change to insert your recommendation. So agent, share with them the price that you think. And also, as you've seen in our weekly seller reports, we've gotten this feedback and this feedback, or this home has gone on the market, and then you refer back to those weekly seller reports. So let me show you some examples of how we do our weekly seller reports, and then you can make sure that you reference those in that conversation, and they're seeing the market, right? They're getting the feedback, they know how many showings, and so this I recommend you send at least once a week. Okay, we give feedback in real time. Some people want to hold it back, but we do real time so that if something they can adjust and we're not overloading them with information at the same time. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so this is an example of our weekly seller update. So we send this every single week. And again, we haven't had to do these as much either, but we do send these each week. So we have a property address and we say weekly seller update. So it's really easy for them to capture. And then we say basically, hello, whatever your language is. We have now been on the market for this many days and this many showings. So this happens to be right around that 3-week mark. But basically what we want to do is send this every week. So the first one will say we've been on the market 7 days or 14 days or what have you. And then the total number of showings is going to add up, right? And then you basically also would want to have a link. This is what we do. Do we say, here's our neighborhood comps. These are the houses that have, been on the market. We tell them the average days on market, etc. And then we give some feedback. Like in this case, there's no new offers, but we did a showing. And so what we do now is go back and revisit it. So if you do a similar report like this, which I highly recommend that you do, this is not going to be new, right? They're going to be staying current. They're going to know what's going on, and this will show that professional level of service that we need to give. So that script and those weekly seller updates will make sure that we're not chasing the market. So if they say, well, I want to wait a little bit longer, or can we just give it a few more weeks? then what we need to do is say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I can understand that you might want to make an adjustment now, but we don't want to chase the market. So what chasing the market means is that if we should have made, and I recommend that we make that price change at about that 3 weeks, and we wait a couple more weeks, now we have 3 and 3 at 6. And if we only make that 2 to 5%, and now it's been 6 weeks, we can start chasing the market. So that's what I recommend. So now we want to obviously just ask them, what Mr. or Mrs. Seller would you like to do? Okay, so we've done our part. I hope these scripts help you. I encourage you to set up your standard weekly seller report. And if you do this, we can definitely get our price reductions or get our home sold if that's what's needed. So if this information was helpful for you, please do me a favor, give me the thumbs up. And if you have questions, comment below. Also in our video description, I do have some links to some guides and templates. If you're trying to 20 extra lead conversion, or you want to know how I can help you be more successful, there's some links into my calendar below. All right. Again, if you found this helpful, give me the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel so you can get more notices and information and videos about how we can increase your success.